Judd Zolgad, Andrew Krammer, thanks for coming to 1500ESPN.com. Twins bomber hat, which arrived today, Krammer. I'm really high on this. This is really comfortable. I've got a Twins hat on, but we are talking NFL Draft, which comes up on Thursday. Complete coverage right here at 1500 ESPN. 6 o'clock, we start. 7 o'clock, the draft starts. ESPN's coverage combined with Mackie and I doing cut-ins a couple times an hour throughout the draft. You and Derek Wetmore will be at Winter Park providing updates from there. All right, we've done 3 of these in 3 days. So certainly the first 2 have talked plenty about Adrian Peterson, what might happen there, blah, blah, blah. We've gone through that. You came up with some scenarios, though, for what you think the Vikings might do. And we both agreed that that of your 3, the second one that you came up with makes the most sense. And, folks, it doesn't involve an Adrian Peterson trade. Andrew, why don't you take us through your primary, or most plausible, I should say, scenario for what might happen in the first round of the Vikings?
Well, yesterday on Tuesday in his pre-draft press conference, Rick Spielman basically put out the message that this 11th overall pick is for sale. All bidders are welcome. Best offer, he'll take it. And I've got them trading back with Kansas City to number 18 overall. Kansas City has 10 picks. They need a wide receiver. I believe they would jump up to number 11, grab a guy like Devontae Parker. They let Dwayne Bowe walk. They need a wide receiver. And
they got Macklin, right?
And I think, yes, that's true. I forgot about that. They got Macklin. I think they could pair him with somebody like a Devontae Parker. And again, they have the picks to move up. They got 10 picks. In that scenario, I have them getting a 3rd and a 7th from Kansas City just to move back 7 spots and taking cornerback Marcus Peters out of Washington. Not sure a guy like Trey Waynes would be there at number 18 overall, but I think Peters is a great pick in the middle of the first round. The cornerback comes with a little bit of a checkered past, getting kicked out of Washington in his last year. I believe it was in November, just before the season ended, for getting into some arguments. But if one coach, I think, in this league is going to set a guy straight, if Mike Zimmer believes he can do it, I think you take him.
And it's interesting because Rick Spielman's always talked about, I put a red dot by all these guys because they're bad kids. But Mike Zimmer, as you just pointed out, has had huge success with problem children. And I would guess that under this scenario, too, it makes a lot of sense because Zimmer gets a defensive guy, which he wants, and Spielman walks away with more draft picks. And as we discussed, I think if they make a trade to get up to, Krammer, 9 picks, then throughout the draft, they'll get, 10, 11 picks?
Yeah,
so once
keep wheeling and
right,
yeah,
so if Spielman pulls the trigger to go back in the first round and get a couple more picks to get them up to 9, then I can almost guarantee you by the time the draft is done on Saturday, they'll have picked 10 or 11 players.
Yeah, Spielman would be happy about that, definitely.
My Twins hat, too.
Yes, and your Twins hat.
Yeah. Keep going, sorry.
No, but I got them picking up more picks. They would have 9 after that. And I think, too, when you look back at the situations they have in the draft, the reason they got the 5th round pick from Buffalo was because they liked it so much. It was the first one of the 5th round, and Spielman said yesterday, he even pointed out that this is a situation, too, where that's going to be more ideal for teams to want to trade up if they wanted to grab a guy with the first pick of the 5th round. So don't rule out any more trades just because they trade back in the first round. But with that 2nd round pick, I've got them taking safety Demarius Randall, so getting 2 defensive backs. And that's completely ignoring the offensive line, wide receiver.
Mike Zimmer's so happy right now.
Completely ignoring linebacker and defensive end, and some people are probably shaking their laptops right now. But I've got them taking 2 defensive backs with that, picking up more picks to then address those certain problem areas later in the draft. Judd, do you agree with 2 defensive backs with their first 2 picks?
I like it. I don't know I agree with it, but if you're saying defense, absolutely.
Yeah.
Now we talked about this before. I could easily see them going tweener for a defensive end.
Yes. Yep.
They need help at linebacker. But 2 defensive picks with the first 2 picks don't surprise me at all. Who's going 3rd then?
Well, 3rd, I've got them reaching for a guard. But we've talked about this a lot. We can't rule off David Yankee. And I believe when you look back at the histories of these coaching staffs, not only with Norv Turner being in San Diego and what they did in those drafts, but with Rick Spielman here in Minnesota, these guys don't reach on interior linemen. The earliest that Norv Turner took one in San Diego with the Chargers was the 3rd round. I think they address it this time because you don't know what you have in left tackle Matt Khalil. This is his season coming up. He is going to be the starter. Being the 4th overall pick, you don't give up on him yet, but this is the season where they tell him, hey, it's a contract year. I'd be highly surprised if they gave him the 5th-year option here this weekend. I think it'll be a contract year for him, but because of the uncertainty there, you need to shore up that left guard spot. I don't believe Joe Berger's the answer. David Yankee could be. I have them taking Ari Kwanjo, a guard out of Alabama, with that 3rd pick.
So you think, now Matt Khalil has the option. I think they have to exercise it for the extra year by May 3rd.
Yes, that's Sunday.
You don't think they will?
I don't think they do for Matt Khalil, no. Harrison Smith, I think they do, and then I think that's just to buy time and they do a contract
training
extension
camp.
with him. Yes, at some
I agree.
point.
But you don't think they will with Khalil? That's really
I
interesting.
just don't think they will because, listen, this is a guy who, when you're talking about Khalil, the knock on him has been, well, is he really motivated? Is this a guy who he thrived at USC just by his physicality and just with his talent, raw talent?
Mm-hmm.
When he came to the NFL, he had a lot of success that rookie year, but he hasn't been able to put it together both health-wise, and you just wonder his rehab habits, workout habits. I think a contract year, which means not giving him the fifth-year option, would be the perfect motivation to say, go out there and earn a long-term deal.
Outstanding stuff. The draft is almost here. Starts Thursday night, as I said. Tune in 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. The draft starts. 6 o'clock coverage on 1500 ESPN. Combination of ESPN's coverage, also Phil Mackey, myself, Andrew Krammer, Derek Wetmore. As always, check out the website constantly through the draft, as you guys will have the picks up very quickly after they're made, and also analysis of those picks. 1500ESPN.com is the place to come to. But you're here. You already know that. For my Bomber hat, for Krammer, Zolgad, see ya. Go Twins, I guess, huh?